You're tuned in to Love Talk with Angel Dion, where we have real conversations, real healing, and real love. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Love Talk. My name is Angel Dion, and I am your host. Here on Love Talk, we have real conversations, real healing, and real love. Welcome back. Last week, we had an amazing Love Talk with Raven, and this month, we are talking about women in purpose. It was only right that I brought back our OG Love Talk guest for this conversation this evening. So, without further ado, welcome our guest, Miss Valencia.
Hi, y'all. Thank you for having me back. I'm cracking up because this is really like a full circle moment since the last time I was on Love Talk.
Yes, yes. And before we get into anything, we're gonna do a little icebreaker. Then I have to give a little story of how we met and all those things. Okay, so let's do this right quick. So a little lightning round here on Love Talk. We do this in the beginning, and I'm gonna ask you some questions. Don't think too deep into it. Just fire it or whatever comes to your head. Just say it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
Okay. Gentle parenting or learning as you go?
Learning as I go.
Okay. One word that describes the season that you're in right now.
Evolving.
Okay. Finish this sentence. Motherhood taught me.
To not take everything so seriously.
I love that. And that brings us into our conversation for today, y'all. First off, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Yes.
We are needed, loved, appreciated. Every day is Mother's Day. But we had our day yesterday. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And I really didn't plan this episode to fall how it fell right after Mother's Day, but it's so aligned. Look how things are.
It is. So aligned. We're supposed to talk.
Exactly. Because today we're talking about becoming her while raising them. So women in purpose, becoming her while raising them. Now, before I let Valencia introduce herself, before we get into the heart of the conversation, I have to let y'all know about Valencia, y'all. So Valencia is one of the reasons why Love Talk is what it is. She's one of the reasons why I'm here now, because in 2019, I had just had my son. I was going through postpartum depression. I was just in a very negative space and I needed an out. So I told my husband, look, I'm getting out this house. I'm going to a networking event. I don't know how I found a networking event, but Valencia was on the panel. Okay. Mm-hmm. And she was talking and she said, tell your story. And I just kept hearing them say that, tell your story, tell your story. She shared her testimony. She shared her story. And I was just so inspired, especially because I was in such a dark place at that moment. And I left there feeling so empowered, so uplifted, so much that I got in my car. I went live, had never gone live before, and just started talking about what I'm going through, talking about my experiences of, just having a baby and not feeling like myself and da-da-da. But all I kept hearing in my head was Valencia's voice and other voices of the panelists saying, tell your story, tell your story. I called my cousin after I went live. I said, Miosha, I have to do this often. I need a name for this. She said, let's call it Love Talk. And that was in 2019. And here we are in 2026.
Wow. First of all, oh my gosh. I did not know that story or recall that story. I know we've talked before, but so much time has passed since 2019. Thank you for sharing that again. And oh my gosh, I feel so I could cry at the drop of
Yes. And I just want to thank you for your yes. Even you getting on that stage, telling your story inspired me to tell my story. And now, opening the doors for other people to tell their story. And that's why I'm so big on sharing. You don't have to overshare, but there's certain things that can help somebody else. And what you did helped me. Now. So I just want to thank you for that. Thank you. But I want you now to introduce yourself to the people.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I am Valencia Thompson. Oh my goodness. It's been so long since I have done this. telling my story. It's been a while. This is actually like breaking the ice for me in this format in some years. So thank you for having me. I am a native Houstonian. I am a creator, a community builder, a mental health advocate. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm the creator of the Mama's Bag. Formerly, a lot of you may remember Glittered in Goals, which is the community that I created for women centered around mental health awareness and creating avenues for women to get access to mental health and resources. And that has evolved into what is now the Mama's Bag in this new season of life. And I know we'll be getting into some of that, but I'm happy to be here and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I welcome you. And y'all in the comments, look, love the familiar face. 2026, we are here. Amazing. Yes. Y'all in the comments, give us some love, give us some hearts, give us some fires. Tell us where you're located. Give us all those things. Now, you talked about the Mama's Bag. Let's jump right on in because this conversation is geared around motherhood, women in purpose. And one thing that I've been noticing about myself as a mother of 3 young children and a woman who is stepping into walking in her purpose. And first off, it's not easy. I may make it look easy, but it's not easy at all by a long shot.
No.
And tonight I want us to give the real, to talk about the real of things, about how sometimes we can feel spread thin, about how sometimes we may not feel like we're doing what we need to do as far as purpose wise, but we may feel like we are doing what we need to do motherhood wise. You know, so it's like a egg and
a dance.
Yeah, a dance when but I want to know from you, how has motherhood changed you as a woman?
Oh my goodness. Motherhood has changed me as a woman in every way. I mean, just going back from a biological standpoint, like you quite literally are not the same once you create life in once you birth life, like you're just not the same biologically. So like there was definitely like that adjustment of, you know, the postpartum period and getting back into myself, like getting back into my body after I'm grabbing my headphones because I think I'm echoing a little bit. But just getting back into my body after that postpartum period and just but how it has changed me. Is this okay? Can you hear me still?
Sound good.
Okay, good. Okay. But yeah, just getting back into my body was one of the challenges that changed me a lot. And then after that, I'm still figuring out how motherhood has changed me as a woman because I'm still getting to know myself in this season. My son will be 3 in August. And so I'm in a space where right now I feel like I'm finally coming out of like the tunnel a little bit, like where it has just been, I've been kind of like closed in. And now I feel like, oh, I'm reemerging as this new woman, as this evolved version of myself. And yeah, like you asked earlier in the rapid fire, like I feel like it's changing me in this ever evolving way and in some ways that I haven't even been able to define yet.
I love that. That's powerful. And I'm looking, when you see me looking down, it's because I'm taking notes. Okay.
Oh no, do your thing.
So one thing you said is getting back to yourself and back to your body. So what does it mean for you when you say get back to yourself? What does that look like?
Yeah, like I did say that, but I actually have been trying to frame it as like allowing myself to arrive at like where I am now. Cause I feel like this getting back to when we say that, it kind of like has this inclination that we're reaching back to grab something that a lot of times doesn't exist anymore. You know, there's a version of myself that I am not her anymore, you know? And so it's more so I feel like a better way to say it is like reaching forward to allow myself to just settle into the version of myself that I am now.
Ooh,
To not necessarily be reaching back, but to be just like walking forward and continuing to walk forward into the version of myself that I am now.
Let me ask you, just pausing right quick on the conversation. Is there a bad echo on your end?
Not anymore. Am I echoing on your side?
good on your end. Let me know in the comments if it's a bad echo. Everything sounds clear to me, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I could hear echo at first, but when I put my headphones in, it got better.
Okay, let's see. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear. A little echo, but it's not bad. Okay, maybe I should grab my headphones. We're gonna get
Okay.
this. Give me one.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Is there still an echo? Let me know in the comments if there's still an echo or not. Because I want to make sure we get this perfect. No echo. Perfect. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I don't remember what we just talked about, but perfect sounds good. Okay, returning back to yourself.
Yes.
You say you're trying to reframe that.
Yeah.
And reframing. Let's talk about reframing because I think that's so important when it comes to just mindset. And you mentioned how you help women or you're a mental health advocate. And there's so many things that we can reframe when it comes to our mindset as a mother. So as a mother, one thing that I'll say I've been struggling with is the way I respond to things. Like my children will do something and I'm all in a frenzy or razzle dazzled because they're doing kid things. But to me, I'm aggravated or I'm frustrated. So when it comes to motherhood for you, how are you reframing your mind? Like you just mentioned, what are some other ways that you're reframing your mind?
Oh man, that's super layered, and I totally get it. Like you said, being frazzled and razzled and all the things with kids is like a natural response because it can be overstimulating. It is overstimulating. Because motherhood is only one part of the aspect of life that we have. It's a huge part, but that doesn't take away all the other things that we have going on, right? So when my child is doing something, it can be overstimulating. But the reframe for me looks a lot like you'll hear me talk about grace a lot. And when I do have those moments where I'm not feeling grounded, where I'm not responding at my best, the reframe looks like taking a step back and like being like, hold on. Like, let me give myself some grace in this moment because I've never done this before. I came into motherhood after I had 10 plus years in professional childcare and family services. I worked in that industry for a long time. So I did have a lot of experience with children. And I love kids. I really do, especially kids 0 to 4. Like everybody's like, that's crazy. Like that's when things are really like,
yes.
But I really love that age range because they're coming into themselves. And a lot of the reframing that I'm able to do right now is like, as I'm watching my son become a person, like he is a person, but like coming more into the person he's going to be every single day, it really reminds me to just give myself grace because like a lot of the things that are happening for him, everything that's happening for him, it's like, this is the first time that he's experiencing any of this. And it's also my first time raising somebody. Like, it's not just new for him, it's new for me. So
Yes.
like, I don't know. I don't always know, and I am a recovering perfectionist. And, a big sister. I'm the oldest daughter. So like I'm constantly having to reframe a lot of the things that I've unlearned in my growing. Like I started my therapy journey in 2017, and that helped a lot with like the rewiring of my brain and how I think about things. And like our brains can change, y'all. Like I've really been learning more about the like science part of it. It's like neuroplasticity. Like our brains can literally be rewired and change like their physical form. And that is so fascinating to me because a lot of times we feel stuck. And like, this is just who I am. This is just a character trait. It's just oldest daughter syndrome. It's just this. And we just hold on to those things. But if we don't allow for more grace and allow for the change, then that's how we actually get stuck. And so a big part
Mm.
of my reframing is to remember that, like, I'm not expected to have all the answers.
Yes.
Like, it's okay.
That is powerful. Wow. I'm not expected to have all the answers.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm
It's
writing that
okay
down.
to, like, not know. And I think once we allow ourselves to, like, not know things and admit that we don't know, I feel like that frees up something, even as mothers, as people, because I grew up having it like ingrained in me that I should be an example. I have two
Hmm.
younger sisters, and a lot of the times I felt like by default I should know. And our parents of a different generation, it was like, you know better. I'm
Hmm.
sure
Hmm.
plenty of us have heard that, you know better, or you should know better. And so that kind of becomes like a character trait, like an identity that we take on. It's like, I know
Hmm.
better, I should know better. And that can be hard as a mother, because
Yes.
when you don't know, then you're feeling like, well, why don't I know? I should know better, right?
Hmm.
But that's just simply not true. And so, like, I feel like a lot of it for me has been learning and relearning how to give myself grace in a completely new season of my life.
That's powerful. Look, the comment said, we never done this before. Love that. So we must give ourselves grace. I'm the
Mm,
oldest daughter as well. It hit differently. Love the reframing.
yeah.
Powerful. Everything you said was powerful, but I want to take a pause right now because when I see your Instagram, I see how much you love on your sisters, how much you love your mom. Y'all love to dance, and y'all are just this fun and energetic family. And this is just me looking through Instagram, so I can only imagine the energy in the room. So in this moment right now, I want it, being that Mother's Day was yesterday, I want you to give some words to your mom.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Um, my mom, I don't know if she's even able to tune in right now, but like, my mom has truly been one of the greatest examples of my life. And one of the things that, one of the main lessons that she's taught me is that it's okay to not know. Like, I actually learned
Hmm.
that from my mom. She was not afraid to say that she didn't know. She actually always encouraged me. Like, if she didn't have the answer to something, she would tell me to go look it up. So she's one of the reasons she homeschooled me and my sisters, as a stay-at-home mom. And she's amazing. And she is ever evolving still, even in her 60s. She's aging gracefully and learning new things about herself, and seeing her implement the things that she's learning about herself. Like, some things are just coming to light for her later in life, but she's not letting that be an excuse. And I feel like that's such a great example to me. I talk to her all the time about that. Like, I get to experience motherhood in a different way, and a lot because of the sacrifices that she made. Her and my dad decided to, homeschool us, but that gave me a lot of one-on-one time with my
Hmm.
mom. So I was getting the academics, but I was also getting, the fundamentals. At everything was coming from home and coming from my mom, and she really equipped me. Now I'm feeling emotional. You didn't tell me I was gonna come in here crying, Angel. Um, but one thing my mom really equipped me for is to, like, I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. My mom's not much of a talker, or she's becoming more, but like, if you meet, she's very reserved, like with
Hmm.
us. But like, she always empowered me to use my voice. She talks about a lot how I was a storyteller even as a kid. She remembers me writing stories. I've always been a writer. And she remembers me like writing stories. And my sister's in the comments. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna read them because I'm gonna cry more. But my mom is just such a beautiful example of grace and resilience and love. And she's always apologized when she did not get things right. And that has also helped shape the foundation of how I see the world and also how I see my child. Like, and I really appreciate her for that. I really do, because it's not just how it's planted seeds for me as a mother, but as a woman. And I do think that there's a distinction. You ask how has motherhood changed my like womanhood, and I do
Mhm.
think that we're holding both truths as mothers. And my mom has done just an amazing job at um, empowering me to be exactly who I am. And she continues to do that to this day. And I just thank her and love her so much. So,
Now send a direct message to her as if this was a FaceTime. Say,
yeah.
Mom, dot, dot, dot.
Mama, I love you so much. And thank you for everything that you do for me. My mom always tells me I'm a star. And she always tells me, you always tell me that I'm a star. And I just want you to know that the only reason I shine is because of the way that you've loved me. So thank you. And
Oh,
so, yeah.
oh my
Uh,
goodness. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry.
uh, a lot of us are gonna cry every time when thinking of
Hmm.
a mother's love, and I just am so grateful for my mama. Like, she's amazing.
A
So,
mother's love. Let's
mhm.
talk about a mother's love because,
Yes.
again, I watch you on Instagram and I watch how intentional you are with your son,
Mm.
down to him eating, down to allowing him to get in the kitchen with you, to try new things with you and your husband when it comes to food.
Mhm.
And it's just the intentionality that I see with you, a mother's love. You and your sister, look, I'm all in your business. You and your sister, also Instagram, you and your sister took your son and her son to the park. Y'all were sitting out playing with the kids and stretching and just doing all the things. That is a mother's love. That's the
Mhm.
things that kids are going to remember. They're going to remember those moments when mom got on the floor and played with me,
Yeah.
when mom let me drop this water all over the floor when I was helping her cook and things like that. A mother's love. So when it comes to your son as a mother, like, explain to us. I know it's hard to put in words, but just explain to us that mother's love, that love that you have for your son.
Thank you for that question, because it's actually a really great segue from talking about my mom. So that's actually one of the ways that me and my mom are very different. My mom at that time did not play, like it was a different time. And she was a busy mom of three, and she had a lot. It was really about making sure we had all the things that we need. We played with each other. We went outside to
Mm-hmm.
play. My dad would play more, but at that time, my mom didn't really play. So I don't have a lot of foundational memories of playing with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom um, didn't do that. So, like, a lot of the things that I'm implementing with my son come from the space of like what I want him to remember. And I want
Mm-hmm.
him to remember that, that joy, and making time for him to play, and making time for him to like make mistakes. I wholeheartedly believe that children should be allowed to be children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that does look like making messes. They literally learn from making messes. You know, a lot of people reference me sharing, like, letting him pour water all over. Like, I have let him do that, and I have to say it has not always been without it overstimulating me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, especially as he began to, at first it was like really cute, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, but as he got older, and as he's like, no, mommy, I do it, and it's like, oh my god, like, it can just
Mm-hmm.
go so much faster if you let me do it. But he's like, no, I'll do it, and I'm like, I did start this, so I have to let you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And but he's gotten better. Now he actually does know how to pour things into a cup without spilling it, and he's 2 years old. Like, he knows how to stir things. Like, he knows how to
Mm-hmm.
do it in a way that is like, oh my gosh, you just a baby and you're doing these things. But I feel like my love for him is definitely something that is hard to put in words, but at the same time, um I wanted him very badly.
Yes.
And I prayed for him. I prepared myself for him. I went to therapy for a whole year before even trying to have him. Just centering around like my reservations about, my fears around motherhood. And really it was my fears around pregnancy. That's a whole nother conversation, just with being very informed about the Black maternal crisis in our country and just not knowing how that would look for me. My mom has a lot of health conditions. And so I was thinking
Mhm.
about like my genetics and like all of these different things. And so it was very intentional, the road that I walked leading me into motherhood. And so now that I have him, even experiencing loss before having Jace is my rainbow baby. And so like experiencing loss before I had him, like I wanted him so bad that it's so easy to love him.
Mhm.
Like it's so much easier. It's still hard, don't get me wrong, but like giving him grace, giving myself grace, it's because of like what it took to get here.
Mhm.
Like of often, especially like, oh my gosh, the sleep deprivation for me was very, very hard. And my son did not sleep through the night until like he was almost 2. Like, cause like through the night without waking up,
Mhm.
like in, like well into the morning. And that was with doing a consistent bedtime routine from 5 months on. He
Wow.
but I breastfed him, and he would wake up that first year because he was a breastfed baby. He wanted some milk. It was like all kind of things. And that was very hard for me. But one
Mhm.
thing that made that love shine through was just remembering how badly I wanted him. And so those times where I'm like literally, it's like the meme where I think it's Stewie, he's like rocking and he's
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that was me in the middle of the night a lot of the times. But what would settle me and what would like keep me grounded and what still keeps me grounded is like how badly I wanted this.
Mhm.
And yeah, so like my love for him is rooted in the reminder that like he's a miracle. Like literally children are miracles. They don't have to
Literally.
happen, you know. And so yeah.
Literal miracles, literally. And I just want to let you know that you're doing an amazing job. Amazing job. I love to see you pop up on my timeline. For anybody just tuned in, you're tuned into Love Talk, where we have real conversations, real healing, and real love. Valencia is one of my OG guests. She was on in June of 2021, and here we are in May of 2026, and we are back on Love Talk. And I'm just so excited about everything. Now, I want to talk about motherhood and purpose, because motherhood in purpose, meaning like your purpose in life and then also having to be a mother.
Mhm.
Because what was that, Friday I had an event where I had to host an event, and my kids had to end up coming.
Mhm.
And I usually, to be honest, I don't like to bring my kids to events with me because it splits my brain and I can't really focus how I need to focus. But luckily my friend was there. Shout out to you, Kayla. And she was able to watch my kids while I did my thing.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I'm gonna give y'all the real. It's hard, being a full-time mother, also walking in purpose and being a wife, and just wearing so many hats, because it's hard. It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
It's rewarding, but it's hard. It's hard.
Yes.
So for you, what does purpose look like for you in this season?
Um purpose is me being obedient to what I feel like God has called me to. Like my faith is a really driving force behind what I do. Like anybody who would talk to me, and now in these days, I'm not per se a religious person,
Mhm.
but my faith in God is my driving force, and the people around me are who I fellowship with, and the work that I do in serving women is my ministry. And although it does not look like traditional church, I believe
Mhm.
that it's still church. We are church.
Yes.
And so I'm really connected to my faith in that way. And purpose is fueled by that. guiding light for me, which I believe is like God's guidance over my life. Because to be honest with you, I had no plans of doing the mama's bag or anything else like this. I didn't know
Mhm.
what would be the next thing, but after the pandemic slowed things down, 2019, like you said, we met in 2019. I was on
Mhm.
here, and then 2020 comes the pandemic, and that kind of slowed me down with my former endeavor with Glittered and Goals, and um, like life progressed, and then 20 that's 2021, 2022 I started trying to have a baby. 2020, I had all these things going on, and once I like settled in the version of life that I had come to, I was like, okay, this is, focus. I have a 9 to 5, focus
Mhm.
on my career, corporate work, and my family. But then purpose looks like trying to take a nap one day and literally like trying to go to sleep and not being able to go to sleep and feeling like you need to get back to serving women. Like it just was like almost
Mm.
audible. Like I'm like, I'm trying to hear all that. I'm trying to go to sleep. Like I am tired. I have a young child. Leave me alone. I ain't trying to hear that.
Mhm.
But that's where the mama's bag came back to me, because I was very clear that my work with Glittered and Goals had run its course in
Mhm.
that chapter. It was beautiful. It ran the time that it ran, but I just was like, I'm done with that. I'm not hosting events no more. I'm not, I did what I like. That chapter is done. But
Mhm.
purpose looked like, okay, it's actually not about necessarily what you had in mind.
Hmm.
It's about what was already like preordained for you. And you can either be obedient, or your nap's just gonna keep getting interrupted. Like
And we
or
need
you're
those naps.
like, and I'm not like, if I'm trying to take a nap, it's a big deal because I'm not even a napper. So like, it's like, okay, I have to listen. I have to listen to this call that's coming like out of nowhere, it feels. But
Mhm.
if I'm honest, like I know it's not out of nowhere. I know that it had been confirmed for me long ago that this is my calling. And so I feel like purpose looks like for me showing up for other women in the capacity that I'm able to, because God has given me really great capacity for others. And
Mhm.
I did not always recognize that as a gift.
Hmm.
I just thought that's who I am. Like I said, I'm a big sister. I work with kids. I have a lot of, I have patience.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's just who I am. No big deal. And a friend of mine, Maya, she's amazing. I've known her since high school. She spoke life into me behind purpose and the mama's bag, and getting back in front of women and serving. And she said, like I was telling her, like I have this little idea. I think I want to kind of do this thing again. And she said, can I interject and tell you something? And I was like, okay. And she was like, you need to let your life and purpose be as big as God wants it to be,
Mm.
and as big as it's meant to be. Whatever God is trying to create through you,
Mhm.
you cannot keep it in a container. You don't get to keep it into a container. You have to let it be what it's meant to be. And that just kind of like shocked. I was like, oh, I don't want to hear that, because now I feel even more called to like that level of obedience and listening to that voice that's telling me to do the thing. And
Mhm.
so I see somebody in the comments that said, any advice for any women in that same space? Uh, the advice I would say is to take the top off of the container that you're trying to keep your purpose locked into. Like
Mm.
a lot of times we try to like water it down, or just be like, it's just a little thing, or I don't know, but like maybe it is, but you have no idea what that little thing, like your story that you told about me at the beginning, me accepting an invitation to be on the panel. Like I had no idea you were going to be there. I had no idea. All I was doing was being obedient and saying yes to being asked to come and share my testimony. And I did. And look what God has something for you. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, how long was the panel? Probably a few minutes. Like, you don't get a lot of time on panels, like it. And so you may think it's a small thing. And then maybe it is a small thing, but like you doing that small thing can be exactly what somebody else needs, and it doesn't have to necessarily be, love talk, which is amazing. Maybe it's just giving them the courage to know that, like, the next day that they can take that next step, that they can do whatever small thing. And so
Yes.
I just think that purpose is, there's not one definition for it.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately purpose is just like walking in obedience, to whatever that looks like for your life, and not getting caught in the trap of trying to do what you think looks good, like what you think other people want to see you doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That right there, that holds a lot of people back.
Mhm.
We want to, like you said, do what we think people want us to do. And that's not even our calling. That's not what God wants us to do.
Yeah.
Take the top off the container. You're trying to put what's it called? Take the top off the container. Yes, say that. I can't see the
Oh
comment,
yeah.
but I can't really see what it says.
Taking the top off the container, you're trying to put your purpose in. Yeah.
Yes. Say, look, Tay says, say that. Hey, everybody in the comments. Now, one thing you kept talking about was the mama's bag.
Yeah.
And I want you to really tell us what the mama's bag is and how women can get involved with the mama's bag.
Yes. So the Mama's Bag is a community for women 30 and up who are navigating the identity shift of womanhood and motherhood, exactly what we're talking about. And through the Mama's Bag, I create intentional space for women. Definitely the heart of what I do is for Black women, but it's not exclusive to Black women. But just know that when you come into the spaces that, it is a safe space for Black women and other women of color, because there's so many spaces that exist, that don't feel inclusive for us, and that don't feel nurturing to the experiences that we have, which are very unique. Even like I said, talking about our birthing experiences and the type of experiences that we have, are very unique in that way. And so I just create a space for us to get together, and I like to say the quiet parts out loud in a non-judgmental space. I keep Mama's Bag in person meetups very intimate on purpose, because a lot of times it can be very overwhelming when you're coming into a space with a lot of people and you're craving connection. Like the Mama's Bag is for women who actually want connection, who actually want to be connected to other people, who actually want to like be vulnerable and like have conversations that they're probably not having on the daily basis. And that's what it's for. And the hope is that that other women that they walk away connected to somebody else in some way. Maybe you didn't mesh with the whole group. That's totally fine. But maybe you sat next to one person that you probably wouldn't have met otherwise. And now you have somebody that you can text when you having that razzle dazzle, girl, what's going on moment. I truly do believe in friendship and community. And I don't believe that we're ever too old to make new friends and new connections. And I believe that especially in this season of motherhood, and that identity shift and ever evolving space of womanhood, that we deserve, first of all, community, who are going through similar experiences. So the Mama's Bag is so that you don't feel isolated and alone. And so I do, like I said, I do that through creating and curating in-person experiences, and also through the Mama's Bag podcast as well, to provide like educational resources, entertainment, and conversation about the things that we go through in womanhood and motherhood.
Yeah. So how can the people stay connected with you? Let them know where to find you.
So you can find me at the Mama's Bag on Instagram. You can visit themamasbag.com for more information, including information about our next meetup. We actually have a meetup happening on May 23rd. There are a couple of spots left for that. And you can also keep up with me on Instagram at Valencia Thompson.
Yes, this is our OG guest. I'm just so excited to have you on here. And I want to thank you so much for coming on Love Talk. You're always welcome on Love Talk. I love having conversations with you. I love you showing up on Instagram. I'm invested. I am so
Thank you so
invested.
much. Thank you
So
so much.
I want to close off with this one question.
Mhm.
What is one truth every woman or mother needs to hear?
I would say that you were called to this life. Like the life that you're living is exactly the life that you were called to, which means that you are exactly where you should be. And one quote that I did not make up, but I love is that like God doesn't always call the qualified, but he qualifies the called. And that means like if you were called to this life, then you will be able to be risen to the occasion that you were called to. So, and you're perfect just the way you are. A lot of times we're trying to change ourselves and always looking for like the next thing. But like, I think it's important to remember that like this life is yours. And so you're perfect exactly as you are. And you were called to this, and that alone is what should let you know that it's going to be okay. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Beautifully said. So beautiful. But before we go, I definitely want to open up the floor to you to say whatever it is that may be on your heart.
I just want to say thank you so much for having me, Angel. I really that your story that you shared with me at the beginning really touched me because I don't always realize that people are paying attention to me, to be honest. And so it really warmed my heart. Just you validating and feeding those things back to me. I really appreciate it, and I also want you to know that I see you as well. I think you're doing an amazing job. I appreciate you continuing to make space for conversations like this and elevating voices like myself and other women and people that you uphold, and that you continue to answer the call as well. So that's just what's on my heart to say. This is such a beautiful endeavor that you have, and I just wish you nothing but the best as you continue on your Love Talk journey. And just thank you for having me back, because you did not have to ask me to come back on here.
I receive it. I receive it. I thank you. And I'm just so honored for those words, honored for your yes, because like I said, because of your yes, we're here today. Love Talk is this. And I want to thank y'all in the comments and that tuned in today. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. For the people who's gonna watch this, thank y'all for watching it. Thank y'all for commenting with us. And I know y'all loved it because I loved it. Valencia did an amazing job. Y'all make sure y'all tap into everything that she has going on. And thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I hope this touched somebody's heart today. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Y'all are amazing, needed, wanted, and appreciated. And like I always tell y'all, remember to believe in yourself. Y'all have a good night. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.